When you first get into fish keeping, it can be overwhelming and straight up scary to ask other people for advice on the internet, since, well, internet is a scary place, you know. But I think it's important to know that even experts have been beginners once too. I'm no expert, but I still want to talk about 5 mistakes that I made when I first started out fish keeping. My name is Jennifer and you are watching Fishy Pet Keeping. Stay tuned! So the first mistake that I made when I first started out is not testing the water regularly. And so when I first started out, I knew nothing about the nitrogen cycle. I didn't know about nitrite, I didn't know about ammonia, I did not know what nitrate was. Especially in the beginning, I did not know you should test nitrite, I didn't know you should test about nitrate. I only knew about the pH. I only thought you should try out and test the pH. Yeah. And when a problem occurred, which it usually does when you first start out, like a fish suddenly die, fish gets sick, and you don't really know what to do, and I didn't test the water at first. And there could very well be a solution where you just needed to change the water because the nitrates or nitrite were too high. But I didn't do that because I didn't know any better. This is why I make this video, so you don't make these mistakes, the same mistakes that I did. And I had no idea that testing the water could prevent so many problems. So the solution for this is to test the water regularly, especially if you're a beginner. Nowadays I don't test the water as often as I do. I only do that with new tanks or when there's a problem occurring. I test my water like once a month or so. But if you're new to this, then you may need to test your water more frequently, like once a week or even every few days, especially if your tank is new. And you don't really need to go fancy, you don't need all those liquid tests. The liquid tests are very, very good, but if you can't afford that, not everybody can afford that, especially in these times, go with test strips. It's easy, it's affordable. One of those test strips could save your fish's life. And for some reason, if you can't afford that either, then most pet stores will test your water for free. Just a tip. And the second mistake that I did when I first started out is not knowing what to do when a fish gets sick. I didn't know about medicines. I just knew about aquarium salt. I somehow thought that aquarium salt was a magic cure for practically everything. And when aquarium salt didn't work, I had no idea what to do. I started Googling, which you definitely should do if your fish gets sick. If you don't know what the disease is, then I suggest just typing in the symptoms, the name of the fish, and you will likely get your answer there. But aquarium salt is a good medicine for treating different diseases and also preventing diseases. Some diseases at least. It doesn't work for everything. But I didn't know there were different meds for different diseases, like fin rot, ick. I didn't know that. And so I had no idea what to do, which also led to me losing quite a few of my fish, which could have been prevented. The solution for this was to Google thoroughly about the symptoms your fish have, and you will likely get your answer. And if you need medicine for it, I suggest having the medicine and not having to use it. It's always better to have the medicine and not use it than to need the medicine and not have it. You know what I mean? And if you medicate your fish, then if you have carbon in your filter, then remove that, because carbon also removes medicine. And the third mistake that I did is only relying on the shopkeeper. Now, don't get me wrong, this shopkeeper where I got my first fish was very educated. He knew very much about fish, but he didn't know everything. And some of the advice that he gave was kind of outdated. And so I would suggest just doing your own research about which fish can go together, what you need to do if something goes wrong. And yeah, as I said, he was a very good shopkeeper, but some of the advice was kind of outdated. But what you can do instead of just relying on one person is just picking up your phone, typing in some different letters and just type. No? Yeah. Type in different words and then click search. And also go to many sources. Don't just rely on the first result that you get, because that result could very well be detrimental. What I'm trying to say is do your own research. Doing your own research teaches you so much, and you can find practically everything now on the internet. And if you have fish keeping friends, great! Ask them too for advice. And the fourth mistake that I did was not knowing what fish go together. I knew some fish wouldn't go together well, so I didn't get those, but I had quite a few combinations that didn't really go well. Some fish thrived and some didn't, and what this did to the fish is those that didn't go together well, that led to them being very stressed, and that led to them, the stress leading to them getting sick, and me not knowing what to do when they got sick. I just tried with aquarium salt and that didn't really work, and so what happened is they unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace. And that's a very common mistake that many new fish keepers do, is that they get these really weird combinations to just try something out, and if that doesn't work, they most often die. And so what I did was, this fish dying led to me reading more about different diseases, what to do, what medicines are suitable for different diseases, and so this led to me, learning more about this. And I learned from my mistakes, and that's what you can do. You can learn from your mistakes. You can prevent when something has happened. One of the worst things you can do is just letting it go. Just letting the fish die, and then just after that getting a new one, because that can just lead to more stress and just a vicious cycle, you know. One fish dies, you get a new one. That one dies, you get a new one, etc. You get what I mean. The solution for this too is research. Research what tanks go together, research what fish you want in a specific tank, and Google those. Will this fish go together with this fish? If it doesn't, then you know. We learn from our mistakes. And the fifth mistake I did, and possibly the biggest mistake that I did, was not doing enough water changes. I did with my first tank, with my first own tank at least. It was a 15-gallon tank, and I did a 15%, no, it's not 15, it was a 30% water change every 2 weeks. And I just want to make this clear, a 30% water change every 2 weeks can be enough for a lot of people. More experienced people with heavily planted tanks, for example, low stocked tanks, not a lot of fish, maybe a lot of shrimp, but yeah. But I had almost no live plants. I had like one live plant, and the rest was plastic. It wasn't overstocked, but it was on the verge of overstocked, and so I think I should have done at least a 50% water change every single week. But I did a 30% water change every 2 weeks, and that was nearly not enough. But as I said, a 30% water change every 2 weeks can be very much enough for a lot of people, the more experienced people. But as a beginner, I think you should do a bigger water change every single week. Not 100% water change, but maybe a 50% water change, maybe a 60% water change. Just so you get the hang of it, you know. The conclusion is, do your research, learn from your mistakes. When you're doing your research, go to multiple resources. Don't just go to the first good article that you see, just the first result, because that could very well be detrimental. Multiple sources, know what medicine you should get, do your research, do enough water changes, research what fish could go together, and don't just rely on the shopkeeper, and test your water regularly. That's just what I want to say. And that was it for this video. If you found this video useful, then don't forget to give it a like, and also if you would like to see more of these videos, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also that bell button so you don't miss a single update that I make. Thank you for staying throughout the whole video. You're the best, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!